I never thought my own sister would stab me in the back like this. But here I am, sitting in my apartment at 2 a.m., staring at my phone, rereading the last text she sent me. You have until tomorrow at 11:30 a.m. to make your decision. If you don't, it's on you. My hands are shaking, my stomach is in knots. I feel sick, because she's not threatening to cut me off. She's not saying she'll never speak to me again. No, Emily is threatening to do something far, far worse, and all because I refused to give her my wedding dress. Let me back up. My name, Samantha, but most people call me Sam. I'm 27 years old, and for the past year I've been planning the wedding of my dreams. My fiancé, Ryan, is amazing, patient, kind, and the one person who's kept me sane through all of this. We've been together for 6 years, and I've been dreaming of this wedding since the moment he proposed. And my wedding dress, it's not just any dress. I designed it myself. Every detail, every stitch. It's mine. I spent months sketching it, choosing the fabric, working with a seamstress to bring it to life. It's one of a kind, and it's perfect. But my younger sister, Emily, decided that my dress should belong to her instead. Emily is 24. She's always been the golden child, spoiled, dramatic, and somehow always the center of attention. If I got an A in school, she got an award. If I had a birthday, hers had to be bigger. And my parents, especially my stepmother, Karen, always made sure she got her way. So when Emily and her fiancé, Jake, announced that they were expecting a baby, I was genuinely happy for them. A little surprised, but happy. To celebrate, they threw this huge dinner party at a fancy restaurant, inviting our entire family, Jake's family, and all their friends. It was supposed to be a night of joy, a celebration of new life. Instead, it turned into a public humiliation I'll never forget. Halfway through dinner, Emily stood up, her face glowing with excitement. Before we wrap up, I just want to take a moment to thank my amazing big sister, Sam. I looked up from my plate, confused. Why was she thanking me? I'm so grateful that she's going to give me her wedding dress for my big day. I nearly choked on my drink. The room erupted into cheers. People clapped, nodded, smiled like this was some heartwarming family moment. But I just sat there, stunned, because I had never offered her my dress. She never even asked. My stepmother, Karen, leaned in and whispered, "Don't make a scene, dear. It's just a dress." Emily beamed at me. "I just think it's so special that I'll get to wear something from my big sister on my wedding day. And since Sam's wedding isn't until next spring, it just makes sense. Why should a dress sit in storage when I can put it to good use?" I could not believe what I was hearing. I forced a smile. "Emily, I think there's been a misunderstanding. I'm not giving you my dress." The clapping stopped. Emily's face twisted like I had just insulted her in front of everyone. "But you don't even need it yet," she said, her voice shaking. "And let's be real. You can always buy another. One, you can afford it, right?" A hot wave of embarrassment washed over me. Everyone was staring. "I designed that dress," I said, trying to keep my voice steady. "It's not just about money. It's something deeply personal to me. I'm sorry, but no." Emily burst into tears. Loud, dramatic, gasping sobs. Karen immediately swooped in, rubbing Emily's back, whispering loud enough for the whole table to hear. "Sam, I can't believe you're being this selfish. Your sister is pregnant. Do you really want to stress her out? Over a stupid dress?" I wanted to scream. Ryan grabbed my hand under the table, squeezing it, trying to keep me grounded. My dad looked uncomfortable, shifting in his chair, but he didn't say anything. I stood up, my chair scraping against the floor. "I'm not discussing this here." And with that, I walked out of the restaurant. But Emily, she wasn't done with. Yet. Because that night, the real nightmare began. I barely made it to my car before the tears started burning in my eyes. Not because I was sad, no, I was furious. My own sister had just publicly humiliated me, tried to steal my wedding dress, and then played the victim when I said no. But I had no idea that this was only the beginning. Ryan followed me out of the restaurant. His jaw clenched. "Are you okay?" I let out a hollow laugh. "Yeah, just peachy." My phone wouldn't stop buzzing. Emily, 10 missed calls. Mom, 5 missed calls. Karen, 10 unread messages. Ryan looked at my screen. "You don't have to answer." I didn't. I threw my phone in my bag, slammed the car door shut, and drove. Home. But the moment I stepped into my apartment, I heard a loud ding from my phone. I hesitated. Then, against my better judgment, I checked it. It was a text from Emily. "Emily, I can't believe you did this to me. You ruined my night. But you can still fix this. Call me." Fix what exactly? I ignored it and went to bed. But the next morning, That's when I woke up to pure chaos. I had 50 unread messages: Emily, my stepmother, Karen. Random relatives I hadn't spoken to in years. The messages ranged from angry to downright insane. Karen: Emily is pregnant. Do you want to stress her out and hurt your future niece or nephew? Aunt Linda: I always knew you were selfish, but this is a new level. Uncle Mike: it's just a dress, give it to her and move on. And then there was Emily's message: if you don't give me the dress, I swear I will do something I'll regret. My stomach dropped. What the hell did she mean by that? I tried to call her, but she didn't answer. So I drove to my dad's house, hoping to talk some sense into her. When I got there, she was waiting for me. Emily sat on the couch, red-faced, eyes puffy. The second she saw me, she started crying again. Sam, she whimpered. I need this dress. You don't understand. I crossed my arms. No, you don't understand. You humiliated me in front of our entire family. And now you're having them harass me? That's insane. She sniffled dramatically. I just thought you'd be happy to help me. But fine, if you really want to be this selfish, then I guess there's only one thing left to do. I narrowed my eyes. What are you talking about? And then she said the words that made my blood run cold. If you don't give me the dress, I'm canceling my pregnancy. I froze. I actually had to replay her words in my head to make sure I heard her right. She wasn't serious, right? You're what? I asked, my voice barely above a whisper. Emily stared at me, dead serious. I made an appointment for tomorrow morning, 11:30 a.m. If you don't give me the dress by then, I'm canceling the pregnancy, and it will be on you. I felt sick. Was this some kind of sick joke? I looked at my dad, expecting him to say something, anything, but he just looked down at the floor. Emily folded her arms. Your choice, Sam. I couldn't believe it. This wasn't about the dress anymore. This was manipulation of the highest level. Tears burned in my eyes, but I refused to let them fall. I turned on my heel and walked out the door. I barely made it to my car before my hands started shaking. I drove straight home and collapsed onto the couch. Ryan walked in and immediately knew something was wrong. What happened? He asked. I took a deep breath, my voice trembling. Emily said she'll cancel the pregnancy if I don't give her the dress. Ryan stiffened. She what? I don't know what to do, I whispered. If I don't give her the dress and she goes through with it, I'll never forgive myself. But if I do, she wins. Ryan was fuming. Sam, this is not your fault. She's trying to control you. You can't give in to this. I buried my face in my hands. But what if she actually does it? What if... He grabbed my hands. No, this is not on you. You didn't force her into this situation. She's an adult making her own choices, and honestly, if she's willing to do something that extreme over a dress, maybe she's not ready to be a mother in the first place. I let out a shaky breath. He was right. But that didn't make it any easier, and then, just as I started to calm down, my phone buzzed. It was Emily, and she had just sent me a screenshot. It was a confirmation email from the clinic. Her appointment was real, and I had until 11:30 a.m. to decide. I stared at my phone, my hands trembling. The confirmation email was right there, staring back at me. Emily's appointment was real. Ryan took my phone and read it, his jaw tightening. Sam, this is beyond manipulation. This is blackmail. I barely heard him, my heart was racing. What if she actually goes through with it? Ryan sat down next to me, gripping my shoulders. Listen to me. She is making a choice, her own choice, not yours. She's an adult, Sam, and if she's using this as a threat, that's not your burden to carry. I nodded, but my mind was spinning. Could I really live with myself if she did this? Before I could answer that, my phone buzzed again. Another message from Emily. Emily, don't think I won't do it. You have until tomorrow morning. After that, it's on you. I felt like I was going to be sick. An hour later, there was a knock at my door. I opened it to see my dad standing there looking exhausted. I frowned. Dad? He sighed and stepped inside. We need to talk. Ryan folded his arms. If you're here to pressure Sam into giving up her dress, you can leave now. Dad shook his head. No, I just need to make sense of this. He turned to me. Emily told me what she said to you about the appointment. I swallowed hard. And? Dad rubbed a hand over his face. I don't know what to say, Sam. She's my daughter too, but this is insane. She's backed herself into a corner and now she's trying to drag you down with her. A bitter laugh escaped me. So what? You're telling me to just let it happen? He looked pained. No, I don't think she'll actually go through with it. I wasn't sure whether to believe him. He sat down, staring at the floor. Emily has always gotten what she wanted. Karen made sure of that, and now she's desperate to control the situation. But Sam, you cannot give in to this, because if you do, she'll learn that she can use extreme threats to get her way for the rest of her life. I was silent. Ryan squeezed my hand. Your dad's right. If you give her the dress, what happens next time? What happens when she wants something else from you? I exhaled shakily. So what? I do? Just wait and hope she changes her mind. Dad hesitated. I don't know. But I do know this. Whatever happens tomorrow, it is not your fault. That didn't make it any easier. That night, I couldn't sleep. I kept checking my phone, half expecting another text from Emily. At 2 a.m., it finally came. Emily, I hope you're happy with yourself. That was it. No threats, no bargaining, just those 6 words. I couldn't take it anymore. I needed to hear her voice, to know she wasn't actually going to do this. I called her. She picked up after 1 ring. Changed. Your mind. Emily, stop this. You don't actually want to do this, she laughed bitterly. Oh, don't I? You clearly don't care about me or my baby. So why should I care? I clenched my fists. I do care. But I am not responsible for your decisions, and using a baby to manipulate people? That's beyond messed up. Silence. Then, she said something. That sent chills down my spine. You'll find out tomorrow, and then she hung up. I barely slept. Every time I closed my eyes, I saw the clock ticking toward 11:30 a.m. At 10:45 a.m., my phone buzzed. It was a picture of a waiting room. My heart stopped. Ryan grabbed my phone. Is that? Yes, I whispered. It was happening. I scrambled for my keys. I have to stop her. Ryan stood in front of the door. No, you don't. Ryan, move. He shook his head. Sam, think. If you show up, she'll know she has control over you. She's waiting for you to panic. Don't give her that satisfaction. Tears welled in my eyes. But what if? We have to trust that she's bluffing. I checked the time. 3 a.m., 20 minutes left. I couldn't breathe. I stared at my phone, willing it to ring. 20 a.m., nothing. Please 25 a.m., still nothing. 32 a.m., silence. And then, at 11:32 a.m., my phone buzzed. Emily, I hope you rot in hell. I collapsed onto the couch, gasping for air. Ryan rubbed my back. She didn't do it. I felt a sob escape me. Relief, anger, exhaustion. It was over. Or at least I thought it was. Because at 12:15 p.m. I got another text from Jake, Emily's fiancé. And his message? We need to talk now. I stared at my phone. Jake's message sent a chill down my spine. We need to talk. Now. Ryan read over my shoulder. What do you think he wants? I swallowed hard. Only one way to find out. I called Jake. He picked up. On the first ring. His voice was low, urgent. Sam, are you home? Yeah, I said hesitantly. I'm coming over. The line went dead. I exchanged a look with Ryan. What the hell is going on? 15 minutes later, Jake banged on my door. I opened it to find him standing there, his face red and swollen like he'd been crying. His hands were shaking. Ryan tensed beside me. What's wrong? Jake let out a bitter laugh. What's wrong? Oh, I don't know, Sam. Maybe the fact that I just found out my fiancé has been lying to me for months. I blinked. What are you talking about? Jake stepped inside, running a hand through his hair. She never had an appointment, Sam. I felt like the floor dropped out beneath me. What? Jake let out a sharp breath. I confronted her. I told her. I couldn't believe she would use our baby as a manipulation tactic. And you know what she did? She laughed. She said it was never real, that she just needed to scare you enough to give in. I staggered back. Are you saying she was never actually planning to? Jake shook his head. There was no appointment. No clinic. It was all a sick game to her. I felt like I was going to be sick. Ryan's face darkened. You're telling me she was willing to go that far just to get a dress? Jake clenched his fists. Apparently so. And guess what? That's not even the worst part. My heart was racing. What do you mean? Jake sucked in a shaky breath. I asked her how she could do something so cruel, and you know what she said? He lifted his eyes to mine. She said, it doesn't matter. It's not like I'm actually pregnant anyway. The words hit me like a punch to the gut. Ryan stiffened beside me. Wait. Jake nodded grimly. Emily lied about being pregnant the entire time. I nearly collapsed. She wasn't just lying about the appointment. There was no baby. My stomach churned. But she announced it to everyone. Jake scoffed. Oh, she went all in. Faked symptoms, pretended to be emotional. Even carried around ultrasound pictures from Google. My knees buckled. I grabbed onto the counter to steady myself. She used a fake pregnancy to try and steal my dress? Jake's voice was hollow. Looks like it. I thought nothing could shock me after what she pulled, but this was another level of insanity. Does my dad know? I whispered. Jake shook his head. No one does yet. I needed to talk to you first because I don't know what to do. Ryan exhaled sharply. You leave her. That's what you do. Jake gave a humorless laugh. You think I'm staying? I packed my bags before coming here. I needed someone to confirm that I'm not losing my mind. You're not, I said weakly. He nodded, his jaw tight. She's going to flip when she finds out I'm gone. And when your family finds out she was lying, well, it's going to be ugly. I swallowed hard. I don't even know how to process this. Jake rubbed his temples. I just don't understand it, Sam. Who does something like this? Who fakes a pregnancy just to manipulate someone? Ryan answered coldly. Someone who's been enabled her entire life. We sat in stunned silence. Jake stood. I need to go. I just wanted you to know. I nodded numbly. Thank you for telling me. He gave me a sad smile. Good luck dealing with your family. You're going to need it. And with that, he walked out. I barely had time to process before my phone started blowing up. Emily, 15 missed calls. Mom, 10 missed calls. Karen, 20 unread messages. Ryan glanced at my screen. Looks like she found out. I let out a shuddering breath. Here we go. The next text made my stomach drop. Emily. How dare you talk to Jake? You betrayed me. You ruined everything. Ryan scoffed. Yeah, you ruined everything. Unreal. Another text came in. Karen. Sam, you need to fix this. Emily is inconsolable. You need to apologize. I nearly threw my phone. Apologize. Ryan grabbed it before I could. Nope, you're blocking them right now. I hesitated, and then, for the first time in my life, I put myself first. I blocked them all. Ryan squeezed my hand. Good. They don't deserve your energy. I exhaled, feeling lighter than I had in years. What happens now? Ryan smirked. Now, we live our lives. And your wedding? It's going to be perfect. For the first time in days, I smiled. But something told me Emily wasn't done yet. And I was right, because 3 days later, she showed up at my door. 3 days passed. 3 blissfully quiet days. No text, no calls, no emails. It was like Emily and my family had finally given up. Or so I thought. Because on the 4th day at exactly 7:45 a.m., someone banged on my front door. Not knocked. Banged. Ryan and I exchanged a look. He was still in bed, half asleep. But I was already on edge. Another bang shook the door. I took a deep breath and checked the peephole. Emily. She looked wild. Her hair was a mess, her eyes were bloodshot, and she was shaking. I hesitated. Then, against my better judgment, I opened the door. The second I did, she pushed past me. Emily, what the hell? She spun around, her face twisted with rage. How could you? Ryan appeared behind me, arms crossed. What are you doing here? Emily pointed a shaking finger at me. You ruined my life. I clenched my fists. Oh, you mean how you lied about being pregnant, how you tried to manipulate me, she screamed, cutting me off. I had no choice, she shrieked. You forced my hand, Sam. If you had just given me the dress, none of this would have happened. I stared at her, disbelief washing over me. You really think this is about the dress? I said quietly. Emily's chest was heaving. Of course it was about the dress. Ryan scoffed. No, it wasn't. It was about control. Emily's eyes darkened. Jake left me, she whispered. I folded my arms. Good. She lunged at me. Ryan stepped between us, holding out a hand. Enough. Emily froze. For a split second, something flickered in her eyes. Something desperate. I don't have anyone left, she murmured. I exhaled. That's not my fault. Her head snapped up. Yes, it is, she sobbed into her hands. I told you I needed you, Sam. And you threw me away. I felt nothing. Maybe a year ago I would have caved. Maybe 6 months ago I would have comforted her. But now, I was done. You threw me away a long time ago, Emily, I said. You and Mom and Karen, all of you treated me like I was disposable. Well, guess what? I'm not. Her face crumpled. But we're sisters, she whispered. I tilted my head. Are we? Because the way I see it, the only thing we shared was blood. She took a shaky step backward. I don't have anywhere to go, she said. For a brief moment I hesitated, but then I thought about everything. The lies, the threats, The way she tried to blackmail me with a baby that never existed, and I made my choice. That's not my problem. Her eyes widened. "You're kicking me out?" she whispered. I nodded. "Yes." She stared at me. Then without another word, she turned on her heel and walked out the door. I shut it behind her and let out a breath I didn't know I was holding. Ryan wrapped an arm around me. "You okay?" I nodded. "Yeah, I think I am." And for the first time in years, I actually meant it. For the first time in years, I felt free. Emily was gone. No more manipulation. No more guilt-tripping. No more power games. Ryan kissed the top of my head. "You did the right thing." I nodded. "I know, and I meant it." But just when I thought the storm had finally passed, it happened. 2 days after Emily stormed out of my apartment, my dad called. I hesitated before answering. I wasn't sure if I was ready for another battle, but when I picked up, his voice was calm. "Hey, kiddo," he said. "I wanted to check on you." I exhaled. "I'm fine, Dad." A pause. Then, "Emily's staying with your mom." I rolled my eyes. Of course she is," Dad sighed. "Sam, listen, she's not doing well." I didn't respond. "She's completely spiraling," he continued. "Crying, blaming everyone but herself. Karen and your mom are still making excuses for her, but honestly, I think this was the wake-up call she needed." I snorted. "She's needed a wake-up call for years." Dad hesitated. "She's talking about moving out of state, starting over." I blinked. "What?" "She says she can't stay here. That too many people know what happened. She's embarrassed." I crossed my arms. "So now she wants to run?" "Figures." Dad sighed. "I'm not asking you to forgive her, but I thought you should know." I was quiet for a moment. Then I said, "Thanks for telling me, Dad, but I'm done worrying about Emily. She made her choices. Now she has to live with them." He exhaled. "I get it." And for once, I actually believed he did. Months passed, and despite everything, my wedding day was perfect. I wore my dress, the one I had poured my heart into, the one Emily tried to steal. As I walked down the aisle, Ryan's eyes lit up. "You look stunning," he whispered, and in that moment I knew I had won. Not in a petty way, I had won because I had chosen myself for once, because I had stopped letting people walk all over me, because I had finally broken free. After the honeymoon, I got one final message from Emily. I hesitated before opening it. "Emily, I hope you're happy. You got everything you wanted and I lost everything. I guess that makes you the winner, huh?" I stared at the message for a long time, and then I deleted it. No response, no anger, no closure, because I didn't need it. Emily had spent her whole life trying to control me, but now I was finally completely, unapologetically free. And that was the best revenge of all. That's the end of today's story. Did things turn out the way you thought, or were there some surprises along the way? Share your thoughts in the comments. I'd love to hear what you think. If you enjoyed this journey, don't forget to hit the like button. And if you haven't joined the community yet, now's the perfect time. Subscribe and turn on notifications so you're always the first to catch new stories. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next adventure.